It's crazy how many times we find ourselves looking to something or someone else to satisfy our hunger. Whether it be for happiness, fun, pleasure, or work, we all face it at times in our life. How many times have you faced what we like to call the hangover effect? Think about it while we roll the intro.
Welcome to the home of Project Dream Mastering. Here at PDM, we are challenging the status quo of what it means to follow your dreams and how to unlock the power those dreams will bring to your life. The show experience will be unscripted, authentic, and transparent. So now, sit back, relax, and get inspired with your hosts, Lucas Johnson and Patryk Labuzek.
Welcome to the 17th episode of Project Dream Mastery Show, where we help you follow your dreams, defy expectations, dream big, and love deeply.
My name is Lucas Johnson, based out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And I'm Patryk Labuzek, based out of Dublin, Ireland.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to be the first to receive new episode releases. And if you're interested, this episode is available with video. So check out our website at projectdreammastery.com to watch now.
So today we are going to take a look into the hangover effect. So for some of us, it's an all too familiar effect, but to others it might be an occasional ripening, as you might say. Feeling kind of that brings quite a bit of thought and emotion. Not so great at times, but sure look. So how about we take a deeper dive into the subject?
It's really amazing, buddy, to think about this because it's really applicable not to just our lives, but every single person. And get your mind out of the gutter if you're listening to this right now. It's not just the alcohol consumption or other things that you might intake into your body. It's those emotions, those feelings, those highs and lows in your life. And Patty, this is something that we have had a great deal of experience with traveling. I mean, even being able to travel together in the US for a month last year. And all of a sudden we went to your place for, and then Ibiza and all these places. And then that was our high. That was our peak, and then there's all these things that add up. And now, man, we're just like, man, I'm high. I need to get back up there. But now all of a sudden you hit that low.
Yeah, you do, especially after so many great memories that you create, so many experiences. I mean, even traveling with your friends, being around your very tight circle of positive people, doing all those wild things. At the end of it all, it kind of leaves you hanging. So I guess just the whole word hangover, it's definitely on point. Yeah, crazy.
I try to think about a hangover effect is, okay, you had a little too much to drink. So you go to the bar, okay, you have a lot of fun. You're using something to substitute or to get you to another level. And it for some of us, we don't need it to make us who we are. I mean, others, we use it as a crutch. We use it as something to lean on. And if you're looking at it from that lens and you are thinking about how does this apply to your life or how is this applicable to you, think about it when you get to your highs. What caused you to get to that high? Was it all the traveling? Was it the people in your life? Was it something that you did? Was it that hole-in-one that you shot? Was it the girl you took on a date? I mean, Patty, that's something that really may arise with you today. But if it takes you to that level and you're happy, you're an all-time happy point. It's just crazy to think like, when's the low going to hit? I mean, not to think about it that way, because we all like to get at our highs, right? But when's the ball going to drop? It's weird to think that way, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a weird way of thinking. Some might say very negative, in fact. But I totally agree. Like when you're so on top of your game and everything is going well and you're having the best time of your life, you at the back of your head you have this feeling, you have this thought that things can't go on like this forever. It's too good to be true, and sooner or later, the ball's gonna drop. And I'm not saying you're gonna get thrown off a cliff, but gradually that feeling of just like this boss ass feeling is gonna gradually decline. And that leaves you with this hangover effect at the end of the day. And the question is, how do we cope with it? How do we get out of it, Lucas? So I pose this question on you.
That emotional state that we are facing and looking at it from different lenses is really crazy. I mean, Patty, you're asking me a question that is so hard to understand because we don't get to figure it out until we're at our low, right? I mean, we're trying to figure out what we want and where we see ourselves. But most of the time we're at our highs when we're trying to evaluate our life. When we're at the lows, sometimes we get lost. We're lost in the negativity. And as you were saying earlier, this is not a really positive topic. But the truth be told, not everything in our life is going to be positive. We want it to be. And we do so well at pushing away the negatives on the show. And sometimes you have to look at the things and ask, is it really going to be positive all the time? Because it's not. You know, we focus on Defy Expectations, dream big and love deeply, but not everything is going to be positive.
Well, you see, Lucas, one can say that we wouldn't know what positivity is without the negative side of things, you know? So, and I feel like it's only when we're at the low point in our lives, we can actually figure out how to deal with them and only go up. And that's when, you know, the positive thinking, positive mindset kicks in with, you know, all that goes with it. So we definitely need to be at some stage of our life, and it's going to happen sooner or later at the low. We need to figure out our shit and just climb, bro. Reach to the sky and further, because actually sky is not the limit.
The sky is not the limit. Interesting topic you brought up there. So what is the limit? How do we define our own limits? How do we find a limit?
I like to think that we don't have any limits. I mean, look, if we did, we wouldn't have gone to the moon. First of all, if we had limits, we wouldn't have explored of going to Mars. We wouldn't have explored, you know, all those mind-blowing topics to our head, like everything related with space, you know, like space travel, time travel, which apparently just recently has been proven to be mathematically possible, and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, man, there are no limits. The only limits that we have, we place them upon ourselves. It's all in our head, and you have to break through. You have to think outside the box. You have to go outside of a comfort zone, and there are no limits. There really are none.
So if there aren't any limits, why don't we get to this point in our lives where we have emotional hangovers, or we have hangovers from other sources? I'm going to say that. Well, what is the rationale you think truly that leads to it? If we don't have limits and we can keep getting to our highs, every single day can be a high, why can't it be if there's no limits?
Very good question, first of all, Lucas. But it's not a very simple answer now, is it, to this question? It's very broad. I mean, why we do not have limits. The limits that we do have, and I'm gonna repeat it, we place on ourselves. It's all in our head. And the reason why we go through the lows is because maybe we are not reaching our goals. Maybe we're not reaching our target. Maybe we're not reaching the limit that we've placed upon ourselves. And this brings us down. I mean, like, if you don't see progress, what do you feel? You know, if you're stuck at 50% and you're not moving to 60, 70 with your life, then you're stuck. You're in this hangover zone. You know what I mean? So those are the lows. Those are the lows in our life. And look, everybody's got them. You have them. I have them. I mean, right now with during the COVID times, I think the whole world is going through a low. And you know, right now the limit for all of us is how to find a cure to this potentially fatal disease. That's the limit. So we definitely are at our lowest right now as a whole, as a civilization. But there is no limit. We will find that vaccine. We will find ways to live with what we have. And yeah, I'm probably gonna leave it at that because I feel that was okay.
It's a roller coaster, man. It truly is. Life is a roller coaster. So yeah, man, it's crazy to think about all these things that we have that are going through our minds. I mean, even with Project Dream Mastery, I think about all these things that we have to do. And I get on this roller coaster of highs and lows. And I talked to you about this. Okay, yeah, we're working on this new page. And it's going to be awesome. And then I review it. And I'm like, wow, this thing sucks. Like, I need to fix this. Or Patty, I need your eyes on this because, man, it could be so much better. And when we get on these highs or these lows, it's really hard to get out of that rut sometimes. So trying to define a limit is impossible. It's impossible to define our limits. It's impossible to also have these expectations on us that someone wants us to achieve. But if we don't want to achieve them, it's going to be impossible. So when I look at Project Dream Mastery and I think about the episodes and the recordings and all these things we have to do, sometimes it brings me to a low. But when I look at the things that I can achieve, the things that we can achieve, the things that we can do by just releasing one episode, by having one person listen, by having one mind shaped, evolved, or even one takeaway, brings me to a high. And that roller coaster goes on and on and on. And it's a circle effect. We don't always have highs every single day. We're human. We're human first and foremost. So, Patty, it's crazy to think that we met 2 years ago now? 3 years ago? Something like that?
Yeah,
going on 3 years?
Like that, yeah.
Going on 3 years and probably in January. And hell, man, we've been on so many roller coasters. So many hangover effects. I mean, even hangovers.
Very true.
So if you were to pick one point in your life where you could just go back and live it again, what would it be? And just one point, and I'll expand on that.
Easy answer. And I mean, I don't know if people listening to this are already sick of this or not, but I always go back to this one moment. Me landing in Sydney, 1st of February, 2018, right? I think. That's it. Like, from then on, from the 1st of February 2018 to mid-July, or was it even start of August 2018, it's been a high. It's been this constant high, and honestly, it has been getting gradually higher and higher and higher, and the boundary was constantly raised every single day. Every single day brought something new. It brought new people into our lives. It brought new experiences into our lives. It brought new places into our lives because, we just explained to the audience, like, we are not these kind of people that just sit in our rooms and, record these episodes or whatnot. We go out of our way. We explore the world. We explore different cultures. We explore how everything works. That's who we are. And every single day has been different, has been filled with adventures, has been a high. And so I would say the entire time in Australia and while we were traveling and all that, highs. And for me, even, it didn't finish in the high anyway. Me riding that wave, it didn't finish in August, to be honest, because from then on I went to live in Beijing for an entire year, and that was like my final year of college, and even though there was a lot of stress involved, writing your thesis and all that kind of stuff, exams, projects, all that, it's been a high. I can confidently say it's been a high. And it's only after that I came back home, came back to Dublin, after all of you guys visited me in Ireland, after we did a few things in Europe, and I've got to settle down a little bit. I'm not going to say settle down because I obviously haven't, but I've remained in this one place, found a cozy spot, got a full-time job, all the adulthood that came along with it. That's when things started to slip away, going downwards. So even though things have become a roller coaster, like you were saying, and I'll go back to that point. From that point on, we were climbing this hill, this mountain to the peak, and then all of a sudden, man, it's a roller coaster. You just go down, it goes up, down, left, right. It's crazy. It's all over the place. It's it's a roller coaster of emotions, right? And that has been the journey. So obviously, there has been lows. Working long hours, not having time to record the podcast, not having time to do all the things that we love because of work, basically, at the end of the day. But at the same time, if not for the work, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do. Yeah. So it's picking ourselves up, it's always thinking in a positive way. It's this positive mindset that we're all talking all about throughout these episodes. It's intertwined between every single one of them. It's really, it's our lifestyle, because even when you're at the all-time low, you might think, there's always a way out. There's always a positive way of looking at it, Not everything is negative. It really isn't. So even though you might think that, everything turned to shit, there's nothing you can do about it, it's worthwhile just to sit down, like during COVID, the first few months in the lockdown, just sit down with yourself and think what you have. And I feel like every single one of us will realize that what we have is great. It might not be our dream, it might not be our peak, our all-time high, but it's a good place to be. It's a good time. Well, not so good.
It's not so good, but
but it could be way worse. So that's how I look at it, Lucas.
Life is a roller coaster. Even with COVID going on, and heart goes out, as I said in the last episode, heart goes out to those that have lost a loved one, both from Patty and I. But life is a roller coaster. This too shall pass. It's too often that, going back to the topic here, is we get lost in what could be, what could have, what should have. And we forget to ask ourselves, are we happy? If we did that, would that make us happier than we are right now? Too often we forget to ask ourselves if we're truly happy, and we just go day to day doing the same thing over and over and over again. Some days we have good days. Others we don't. We have bad days. Hell, 3 out of 5 days a week, I'm like, shit, why am I doing this? Not that podcast. I'm just saying, like, work. Sometimes you get to these things, you're dealing with problems, complex situations, and you get to know a lot of different people. And you question what you're doing. You get that high and that low, and then the hangover sets in. You get an all-time high, you get a promotion, your new title, fancy new title. It's a big thing. New pay scale, maybe a new vehicle, new car.
Oh, who are you pointing your finger at?
And then you buy it and you enjoy it, but then it starts to fade. That feeling, it starts to get a year goes by, and that new car's no longer new. It gets a dent in it. It gets a few nicks and scratches, and it starts to fade, and the lows keep setting in, and we never really get time to ask ourselves in those moments, are we truly happy, or are we just happy with the thing, the feeling, the place, the people? Are we truly happy? So if we get to those points in our lives where we can ask that, and we take the 5 minutes, 5 minutes just to ask, are you happy? Patty, I'm the happiest when I get to jump on the show with you and talk about life, talk about things that have happened to us. And for one person to have a takeaway from this show, it's amazing. We were just talking about this before the show started. We've had people reach out to us and tell us how the show's doing and how they like it and their feelings and their comments and so forth. And it is truly incredible. Thank you so much for those. First off, it means the world, like we talked about in previous episodes. It is just incredible. Patty, you can probably agree with that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. No words. It's amazing. So those are the highs. Having people tell us that makes this show feel so worth it, and having those highs. But now let me ask you something. The same goes for the lows. So what does that feel like? What is that hangover effect? What is the hangover effect? Patty, what is the hangover effect to you?
It's this very complex feeling of right after the all-time high, or right after a high, when you just know that that was great, and it's gonna take some time to get back to this point, and that's when the hangover effect kicks in for me. It's after all these great things, when you go back to your normal, when you do all the ordinary stuff. You go grocery shopping, you pay your bills, you go to work in the morning. That's the hangover effect. But then again, you reach your high. You reach your high, and then everything is great again. But then again, you get that hangover straight after it. So it's that constant, that constant up, down, like a heartbeat. I mean, there cannot be ups without the downs. So it's essential.
I love that.
It's essential. We can't skip it. We can't fast forward from one high to the other, because that's not how it works. Like, in order to enjoy the next high, we need to have the hangover effect. And that's how life is, and we cannot change that. But because of it, we can enjoy the high, or maybe the new all-time high, even more so.
It's really crazy how human beings are. I mean, we how we evolve and how we act and behaviors, and just the whole 9 yards behind how humans are and who they are. I like to think that we enjoy the moments more when we have to go through the lows to get to the highs. For me, that hangover effect doesn't happen all the time, but I mean, anyway, we're human. It happens to all of us. But when it does set in, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do I feel? Well, I feel down. I feel like I just want to lay around and, just, as they say, sob or in your own pity. Like, that's as they say. I mean, I'm when I get down, I like to contemplate what the next steps are. I like to figure out what's going to happen next. How do I get to the next step in my life where I'm going to be happy? And I think we have to go through that process. It's a sign of almost emotional intelligence to figure out where you need to be next. For me, I start and I sit on the couch, or I sit in the office, or hell, I even do it through the working sessions we have, or the podcast and the show. I'm doing it right now, thinking through how can I get to my next high? Not high, but how do I get to that all-time high where I feel great about life, feel great about the things that are going on, the people in my life, my circle, my tribe, feel good about the people in my family. Is everyone doing well, or how can I help them be better? All these things contribute to your all-time high. So, Patty, for you, when did you feel at your all-time high?
I mean, it happens often, when everything's going well. You don't have to be constantly visiting new places, doing wild things like jumping off cliffs, for example, or, scuba diving in tropical locations, or meeting famous or successful people every single day to be at a high. I mean, a high for me could be, or is actually, just being happy with the job that I have, being happy with even the materialistic things that I have, that my family is well, healthy, happy, my friends, my close circle of friends, being able to chat with you, to be able to record the Project Dream Mastery show, being able to write my blog. That's when I'm happy. That's my high. And it happens all too often that we reach our point, we're super high, and then we just linger there. It's a straight line. It's very linear, it's straight. It doesn't jump down, it doesn't go up. But then eventually, you get, or going back to professional life, you get that new promotion, and then you get a boost, you go a little bit higher. So it's like, think of it more of a mountain, where as you climb it, it's not always very steep up a hill. It's has its bumps. You go down a little bit, and then you've got a little area where it's all like nice and straight, and then you go up again, and then another bump and all that kind of stuff. So like for me, the high is the ordinary things, but you've got to learn to appreciate those ordinary things. And we can only appreciate those ordinary things when we experience the lows, and it's not particularly our own lows, it's lows of other people, and that's why I find traveling so inspiring. So allows me to self-develop in just all over the place across the entire, like me, becoming better and better, because I see the struggle. It's not always easy, especially for other people. When you see that, and when you analyze it, and when you think about it, and it sticks in your mind, you figure out that what you might have thought is your low, and it's not. You're on your high, and I guess that answers the question. The ordinary things. But
how about when you make a decision? Do you go through that process too? Say you make a bad decision. Does that affect you in the moment, or does that affect you the next day? Or I have times where I personally make a decision and then I immediately know I made the wrong decision. So do you go back on what you said you're going to do? Did you go back on what you're doing?
Happens. Of course it does, and happens pretty much straight after that decision. Oh shit, maybe that wasn't the best option. It wasn't the best road, best path to take. But it has been said, it has been done, and you need to live with it. End of story.
How about when you're at that all-time high? You're at that all-time high. You think it's the best decision in the moment. You think you're really doing great, but what happens when you go down from that all-time high, and that fades and it fades?
See, that's exactly where the hangover effect kicks in. I don't even know the definition of the hangover effect, to be honest with you.
Me either. That's why her topics come to life, bro.
Exactly. That's why the definition for me is from my personal life, and it's definitely different to you. It's definitely different to someone else. But what you just said there, calming down, and that you're coming down from the all-time high. That's the hangover effect for me.
It's crazy how our topics come to life too. This topic was just something that was written down, and something that applies to us, applicable to the choices, the decisions we've made, and sitting here trying to think about where the hangover effect. It's just, it's really spitballing what we've done over the years and what we've learned from our mistakes to bring true, I would like to say, value, because people making mistakes, you learn from them, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So many times we need to, or we do things for other people, I think, and it's tough to do sometimes the right thing for ourselves. We're at an all-time high, but we do things for others that we get burned out. We forget about the most important things sometimes. It's our health, our wellness, our well-being. I'm not saying that you have to be the center of the world and act like that, but your well-being is so crucial and critical to obviously you being alive on this earth and making decisions and making the right choices, whatever that means. We live and learn. Win or learn, as Corey said in the last episode, is win or learn. There's no loss. Win or learn. So this is going to be a short one today because I think that everything we talked about today is just going straight into the books. So Patty, I want to leave it to you for any homework that you feel that would be very helpful for this episode this week.
Yeah, so definitely, number one, sit down for 2 minutes. It doesn't take that long. Think what you have and, really think, is this your low or are you at your high? Where are you? At what point are you in your life? What are you doing? Did the hangover effect kick in yet or not? So just analyze like your situation at this very moment and ask yourself, is this my high or is it my low? And secondly, if you think it is your low, what can you do to get back to that high? Like we said, actionable steps, lead to your goals, lead to your success. You need to do something about it. It's not enough just to sit there, on your couch and be like, man, I'm at my all-time low, and just linger on it, You have to do something, actionable steps, Small baby steps, I like to say. Baby steps, but they all lead somewhere, and trust me, getting even out for a walk when you feel bad, picking up a book, making yourself a cup of coffee if you like. This brings you one step closer to that peak, So I think I would definitely leave it at that. Those two points that I made here that are very important to our mental health, especially now when maybe we might not be able to see our families all too often because of the different restrictions. It's different for all of us depending on the country that you're in. And so yeah, that's your homework, guys.
I also want to add is take the time to analyze what your hangover effect is, what it means to you. Because this, there probably is a definition on this, but the point of the show is not to be straight by the book. I mean, we are obviously not medical professionals by any means, so we don't ever intend to come across that way. But the point of the show is to talk about things that really have been relevant to our lives and hopefully are applicable to you. So go out and analyze your own hangover effect. What does that look like? Leave a comment. Let us know what that means to you, and I'd love to take that to the next level and learn and expand on that in one of our shows. So with that said, we just launched our Patreon membership community where you can become one of our elite supporters and gain exclusive or access to early releases, live streams, and Q&A. We have a few different tiers available with some pretty sweet perks, so make sure to check them out and consider supporting the show. Go to projectdreammastery.com and click the red button that says Become a Patron to learn more. As we reach our monthly goals, we will have some pretty sweet giveaways. If you have not already, please make sure to review the show, subscribe, like, and share so that we can reach more amazing listeners like you. All of our shows are available in both audio, video, and written form, so make sure to check out our website to access the full experience. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode to come. Talk soon.